Today we're joined by Alex Morse. He's a senior here at Brown and Urban Studies concentrator who's also running for mayor of Holyoke, Massachusetts. All right, Alex, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Talk a little bit about that balance between being a student and also like an active politician running for office.
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult balance. When I decided to run for mayor, every decision thereafter had to revolve around my decision to pursue the public office. So it's definitely difficult. I would say that my number one priority now is definitely the campaign, but I do have to make sure that I do graduate from Brown University. I have 3 more classes in order to graduate, and I take them all on Tuesdays. So I'm only in Providence on Tuesdays. I get here, Tuesday morning at about 8:30, and I leave at about 7 every Tuesday. And then, I have to squeeze in a little bit of chunk of time throughout the week to get my homework and assignments done.
When did you decide to run and why?
Yeah, so this has sort of been in the back of my mind for maybe about a year or two. I officially decided to run last May. I was studying abroad in the Dominican Republic from January 2010 till May 2010, and I came back. And I'd already been thinking about making that decision, and then that's when I really started to meet with people in the community and do that base building and meeting with key people about this is what I have been thinking about doing, about running for mayor, and this is why. And then you getting a response and a reaction from people that I think I would either support. And I got an overwhelmingly positive response from people in the community about why they would support me if I did run for mayor. And basically, if you know anything about the city of Holyoke, you know that it hasn't been the most successful or positive place to be, especially from the outside. And for me, the city of Holyoke is my favorite place in the entire world, and it really has the possibility to be one of the greatest cities in the state of Massachusetts. It has a beautiful history, has beautiful architecture, beautiful people, and it has a lot of possibility. It's one of the poorest cities in the state of Massachusetts. We have a 50% dropout rate in education over 4 years. We have a double-digit unemployment. So at the end of the day, things are going to stay the same if we have the same people in elected office. And Holyoke has been plagued by leadership that is beholden to old interest. And like I said, we've had the same people in elected office for decades, and we're talking about the same issues we've been talking about for 30, 40, 50 years, and nothing has changed. So I'm running because I'm offering that long-term vision, that bold leadership, and that passion that we really need in the mayor's office to sort of make Holyoke the place that we know it can be.
And you talked about the previous leadership, in Holyoke. How has the incumbent candidate, Elaine Pluto, what kind of job do you think she's been doing so far as mayor?
Yeah, I definitely commend Mayor Pluto for her over 15 years of elected office in the city of Holyoke. And what I tell everyone, it's not a personal campaign whatsoever. It's nothing, we're not running a negative campaign. This is about the past versus the future. So I commend Elaine Pluto for the job that she's doing, but if she was offering the fresh, visionary leadership that we need, then I wouldn't be running. I'm running because we don't have bold leadership in City Hall. We don't have a passionate mayor. We don't have a visionary leader in the mayor's office. And so that's what I'm offering. I'm offering tangible plans, a vision for the future, short and long-term goals, the ability to bring people together from different backgrounds. We have a 45% Latino population in the city that leaders have failed to engage and mobilize, and that's something really important to my campaign, along with the young population in the city.
Yeah, and going off that, I understand you're bilingual, you speak Spanish.
Yes.
So how's that factored into your campaign in terms of reaching out to Latino voters?
Yeah, it's always been the center of our campaign, is reaching out to Latino community and young people. And the Latino community in particular, with a city that is 45% Latino, ideally we would have 45% of elected office held by the Latino community. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. And unfortunately, it's sort of a vicious cycle. Elected officials aren't catering or mobilizing or meeting the needs of our Latino constituents in the city. And then in turn, there's also low voter turnout in the Latino community.
As someone from Western Mass, I'm also from the Berkshires, about 40 minutes away from Holyoke. And I know that just that part of Massachusetts, the main issue is lack of jobs. Like there's no job creation, a lot of mill towns with no factories producing anything. What do you plan to do in terms of spurring job growth, job creation in Holyoke?
Yeah, jobs and economic development is one of the central aspects of my campaign. Too many people are unemployed and people have lost hope. and I see it every day as a youth career counselor at Career Point. It's people come through the door without an education, without a GED, without a college education, without the basic skills that it takes to hold a job. So when I'm talking about economic development, we can't have that conversation without talking about education. So when 50% of our kids are dropping out, they're not prepared for the workforce. So I want to make sure we're merging together our education efforts and our economic development efforts.
I believe like 55% of students graduate from Holyoke Public Schools.
Yeah, right now it depends on what data you're using and how you're interpreting it. So over 4 years, about 55% of our students graduate. So that's, from freshman year to senior year of high school, only 55% of the incoming class in 9th grade make it to 12th grade in that 4-year period. So we're losing hundreds of students almost a year. So when I entered Holyoke High School in the 9th grade, I had about 500 classmates. When I graduated, only 216. So we're losing at least 250, almost 300 students over 4 years. And these students, they're not invisible. They're still in the community. They're in poverty. They lack the job skills necessary to attain employment. So when we talk about poverty, public safety, and jobs, again, we have to have that conversation about education. So how do we decrease the dropout rate?
Switching gears, I know this is a question you've answered many times before, but what do you say to the critics who say, well, he's very ambitious, but he's 22 years old, he's a college senior, he might not be ready? What do you say to those people?
Yeah, and I think we've already done a really great job of debunking that myth that I'm not ready. And, since day one, I've been talking about my over 10 years of experience, working in the community, with real people, real families on real issues, whether it's, starting a nonprofit organization in Holyoke 5 years ago that, today serves over 600 people annually. Like I said, writing legislation on the statewide level that provided mental health resources for youth across the state of Massachusetts. Working at Career Point for the past 5 years, helping people in Holyoke get jobs, get access to employment, go back to school, get an education. All these things are tangible life experiences that have prepared me to be mayor. And on a broader sense, it's the leadership, the decades of elected office that the people in power have held have clearly not gotten us, to a successful state of the city. So this isn't about age. There have been really bad mayors who are in their 60s and really good mayors who are in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. So I want to continue talking about the issues. I want to talk about education. I want to talk about public safety. I want to talk about jobs. I don't want to talk about my age, and my competitors are welcome to talk about it, but we're going to be proud of the fact that I'm 22, that I'm young, that I'm not beholden to special interests, and that I'm energetic, I'm passionate. This is an exciting opportunity for me to really lead the change that needs to happen in the city. So.
But is it daunting at all for you? As a 22-year-old, most people are probably worrying about getting jobs or worrying about classes or, typical college things. Is it the prospect that next year you could be the main political figure of an entire city? Is that a daunting thought to you?
It's not daunting whatsoever. It's because when you look at it, the most exciting thing about the campaign is that it's not just about me, it's about the entire community. And so it's about my family, it's about the city of Holyoke, it's about the people, it's about the 40,000 people who live in Holyoke who are ready for something new, who deserve a better city, who deserve better schools, who deserve safer neighborhoods. So we're all working together to make this possible. So I'm not running this campaign alone, and I'm not going to be running City Hall alone. It's about a collective effort, a recognition that what we're doing now isn't working, and that we could be using the skills, the resources of others in the community, around the state, and around the country to really make Holyoke a better place. So is it daunting? Not so much. I'm running because I'm ready for the job.
Here in Providence, you were mentored by David Cicilline, current congressman, also previous mayor, openly gay politician. Do you see yourself as a role model for other people like you in Holyoke, other young people, students?
Yeah, and I've already had instances where parents will come up to me and they'll thank me for being visible and open about my sexuality, and say how you're really a role model for my 15-year-old, for example, who rarely sees positive portrayals of gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender people in the media or in a television show. So it's just making a statement that it really doesn't matter, what identity you have, whether it's LGBT, whether you're straight, etc. It's about being a person, and I'm excited and privileged to have been involved in making the Holyoke Public Schools a safer place for gay students in the closet. I did, as a senior in high school, start Holyoke for All, the city's first gay and lesbian nonprofit organization. I also assembled the first faculty and staff training on LGBT issues in the Holyoke Public Schools. And so while those accomplishments are directly LGBT related, I think they point to a larger fact that I have an ability to sort of pinpoint and identify problems in the community and develop tangible practical solutions. And so I want to take that vision and that proactive leadership to City Hall. Not just addressing LGBT issues, but addressing education and public safety and things like that. I think it's exciting. I've been honored to be mentored by David Cicilline, who really did a great job as mayor here in the city of Providence, and who's now representing the first congressional district in Washington. So I do it because I really care about the city, and if I happen to be a role model for people, more power to that, and that's exciting for me.
Do you feel like you're missing out at all on a normal college experience? I mean, you chose to run at this point in your life. Talk a little bit about that. Let's see. So even, as a freshman, sophomore, and junior at Brown, I was always very attracted, I guess. I was always it was always difficult for me to stay away from Holyoke for long. So even while I lived here, my first couple of years, it was a constant, returning to the city of Holyoke because I was still involved in a number of things. I never really cut contact with or completely removed myself from the city of Holyoke. And I think I'm, compared to my classmates, I'm incredibly privileged to have both a family back at home and a city back at home that I constantly want to return to. So whether when I'm studying abroad or when I travel, I can't wait to come back to Holyoke. And that's how I felt. It was a constant love for the city, a passion for the city, that I just couldn't, stay away for long. So it's funny for me when I see, classmates or colleagues here at Brown, never go home for winter break or for summer break, or so quick to take internships, halfway across the world. Because for me, the only place I really want to be is my hometown, and that's Holyoke. I feel like this is a question that a lot of politicians don't like to think about, but if you did not win, do you have a plan B?
I think, just like when I decided to run for mayor, it was, doing it by asking the question, how can I best give back to the city of Holyoke? So I'll continue to ask that question, how can I best give back to the city of Holyoke? Right now it's as the city's next mayor. I intend to win. I'm confident that we'll win in November, on the 8th of November. So I don't really want to talk about what what I will be doing if we don't win. If for some reason we don't win, I'm sure we'll have been successful in registering new people, engaging new people, and if unfortunately, if we don't win, I'll be announcing my re-election. I'll be announcing my candidacy for mayor in 2013.
So no matter what, Holyoke is definitely in your future.
Yes, but we will be winning this November.
How much money has your campaign raised so
We've
far?
raised about $17,000 at this point in the campaign.
And where have those funds mostly come from?
They've come. The beautiful thing about the campaign is a lot of the funds, the donations for the campaign, just like our volunteers and our campaign staff, they're coming from a combination of people who've been involved in politics in the past, and then a whole new breed and community of donors and volunteers. So a lot of our donors are small donations, under $50.
You are a first-generation college student, if I'm correct.
Yes.
You're graduating from Brown in the spring. You're also running for mayor. Your family must be so proud. What has been their reaction to all this?
Yeah, my family, like I said, I'm extremely lucky to have the family that I have. From every decision that I've ever made, I've always received 110% support from my family. My mother and father are there every step of the way. They were there when I announced my candidacy for mayor on the steps of City Hall, and I remember looking over. As I thanked my parents and my mom, you could see the tears in my mom's eyes in particular, and that that really stayed with me because she's so incredibly proud of me and my accomplishments and where I'm headed, and I couldn't ask for better parents. And my parents have always instilled in me the values of education, the value of success and community and family and giving back to something greater than yourself. So I always want to thank my parents for that. And I think sometimes they ask me, they're not doctors or lawyers and, professional businessmen like, a lot of my classmates here at Brown. And I think that's what makes them special. And I wouldn't want them to be anybody else than who they are. And I want to thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here.